that was allegedly, according to him, he back-engineered alien spacecrafts at Area S4. Mm-hmm. There's a guy who worked for Lockheed Martin, and he claims that he worked on these UFOs. And we all went out to dinner.
Fogo de chao.
And we're sitting there, and Andrew and I are cutting meat and eating and just talking.
I got my green light on. They keep coming around.
This guy.
Joe's like, put the fucking red light on. You had enough steak, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know the rules of Fogo de Chao yet.
You get a green card. It's the best fucking place ever if you love meat. You have a green card on one side, and it's red on the other side. And so when you want to keep that food rolling, you keep that green up. Yeah. But Andrew's, it's like fucking sausages are coming. He's taking chicken legs. Yeah. And I go, you got to flip it over if you got to tap out. They'll give you a break. Yeah. So you flip it over. It's a good system. So we're all sitting there eating, and Bob Lazar is detailing to us shit that he couldn't even talk about on the podcast.
Wild.
And explaining like what they were trying
begrudgingly, by the way.
Begrudgingly.
And that's what kind of convinced me. He was like, I don't care to argue about this or debate about this. Like, if you don't believe me, it's fine. I don't need to be here. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Remember he kept saying that?
Yeah.
And then he was like, this is what I experienced.
You gotta care a little bit. You dedicate your whole life to this.
No, he didn't dedicate his life. Like, he was an engineer.
He was only there for a short period of time. And here's where it gets wild. Want to hear the whole story?
Yeah.
He had top secret clearance because he has to work on these crafts, allegedly, according to him. But because of that, they had to tap into his phones. They had to monitor all of his discussions. Like, if he's selling information to the Russians, they got to. Okay. So during that time period, his wife is having an affair. Oh, wow. And they kill his top secret clearance and suspend him during this time period, and with no explanation, because they think he'll be emotionally unstable, and you can't have a guy like that working on fucking UFOs. Yeah. So they don't tell him, though. They don't tell him his wife is cheating on him. So he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and he brings friends out into the mountains to view the launches of these UFOs, because they're on a very specific schedule, and he knows the schedule. So he takes these people out deep into the Nevada desert, which is now the area that he took people to. You can't even go there anymore. It's now off limits. But at the time, you can go there, and he was watching with his friends. They were filming these fucking things flying around in like these preposterous ways that no airplane could fly.
Did you see any of the videos?
I've seen it, but you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at lights. Like, it could be anything.
That was the Elon thing. I think, Elon
said
some shit like, why don't they have better camera footage of aliens?
Yeah.
Like
but they do. He's not totally correct. The FLIR footage that they have from the Commander David Fravor had one of the most impactful UFO video encounters that's ever happened. It was off the coast of San Diego, and they found this thing that moved from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in less than a second. They don't know what it is. They have no idea what it was. But it was actively monitoring them because it blocked all of their tracking devices, which is technically an act of war, and then just fucking just took off, gone, and went back to their cat point, which is the place where they had like a designated spot where they're supposed to meet up during this mission. Because what they're doing with this mission is a training mission, and they had to dedicate. And that fucking UFO went to that spot. It's like, I know where you're going, bitch.
Whoa.
And then took off again and gone. Wow. And then when they relayed this to the Nimitz, he was explaining how the people that were working there were like, we see these things like every couple of weeks. We have no idea what the fuck it is. We don't know what.
So you're 100% convinced UFOs?
I'm not, because it could be a drone that they don't tell those people about. It could be something that the government's working on. It could be
a different government or something.
Most likely us. See, the thing about communism is like like the way they do it over there is like /communism /capitalism. Maybe that works, but a lot of what they do is they steal a lot of intellectual property from the United States. It's one of the problems. There's not a problem with the United States stealing intellectual property from China, as far as I know. It doesn't make the news, but they banned Huawei. The reason why they banned Huawei
is the cell phone company, right?
The company that they make modems as well. They make many things, but they found like enough of an indication that they were suspicious. There's some back doors in order to get data. So if you're using like Huawei devices and you have some like super secure network that's developing nuclear weapons or whatever the fuck you're doing, they would get all that data. And there's like, hey,
chill the fuck out.
Hey. You know, we're in this weird time where we're only like a decade or so away from nothing being a secret, ever.
What do you mean?
There will be no more secrets. You'll be able to read minds. You're coming to a place where language is probably going to be universal, and you're going to be able to communicate with people that are nowhere near you using the power of your thought.
This is the Neuralink.
This is many of these technologies they're developing. If you had to think about where it's going to go, that's where it's going to go.
That's one guy I talked to. He said that's the end point of AI. That's where it's all headed. We're all in one consciousness.
Well, it might be. You gave me a broken glass, you cocksuckers. I almost caught myself. I would have died.
Wow.
If you, please,
The Russians.
please.
It was so much.
It's no big deal.
You drink out of this end.
I drink out of that end.
There you
I
go.
drink right this part. What were we just talking about?
The Russians.
Group consciousness.
No,
Collective
group
Consciousness and singularity.
What they're looking for. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that, bro.
Come on, bro.
Yo, half of it missed the
What's the problem, bro?
It's just water.
Andrew's fingers and
The ashtray, you know?
I want to state for the record that most of this podcast is nonsense.
Yeah.
I would say 100%.
Yeah, it's 100%.
We like to be safe and just go 100%.
100%
it's all
nonsense.
comedy.
Yeah.
If asked, I stand by none of my claims.
No, this is all scripted. This is a scripted podcast, and this is for your...
This is a parody
Exactly. Okay, but with the
of 5 dudes drunk.
UFO shit, right?
4. They're out there.
They're out there, bro.
out
Say it.
there.
You believe it.
No, the thing is, I don't believe it because I don't know for sure. But if I had a guess, I would have to say most likely they're out there because there's not enough options. Like if you had to think that this is the most unique circumstance ever in the history of the universe, the problem with that is the universe is too big.
Yeah.
So it's so big that everything that's ever existed, including everything that's ever happened on Earth in the exact same order, has happened an infinite number of times. Like you have to understand what infinity means. It's too big for anybody to understand. So are there aliens? Of course. There's not just aliens out there. You're out there. You're not just out there once. You're out there an impossible number of times, and you're doing life all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
The number of people that live exactly the same as you have, with every pause, every mistake, every success, all of it is exactly the same. It's infinite. That's how big the universe is.
Then there's also one that's the opposite.
Yeah,
That's everything.
failures, disgrace, everything, falling apart, murder, suicide, all of it. Probably every single iteration of human beings.
Vegan you out there, Joe. And that motherfucker still
That's
would
where
live in
you
Austin.
cross the line.
Yeah, I just wonder, man.
If you watched a moose stomp a person to death, you think you could eat that moose?
Joe, I'll suck the moose's dick and I'm good, bro. I don't know what you don't understand about me. I'm apex predator. This mouth.
Well,
This mouth is
that's-
a predator, dog.
Take some mushrooms out, guys.
you need something like a massage or something. Something therapeutic, like a yoga class. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
It's this married life, Joe. It's this married life.
Well, listen. I'm gonna end this bitch.
Listen, we love you, bro. We
I love
appreciate
too.
you.
I appreciate you guys, and I'm very, very happy that there's so many of us out there. You know, this is an interesting time because none of us would have ever had a show like this, or like any of the shows that we do, if it was up to gatekeepers.
That's true.
It wouldn't happen.
Yep.
They would have never said yes.
That's true.
They would have never left you alone. Like some of the shit that you say, you know, like they would never let you alone.
100%.
There's no way. And the only way to do this is do it this way.
Yes.
You got to just kind of...
And we are very grateful for you because of this.
Well, listen, I'm grateful that it exists. And, you know, I
Do you
just
remember
happen
Sal's
to be...
Comedy Corner?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
I remember
Comedy
that place.
Hole? Remember that?
Yeah.
That's Comedy Hole, I think.
That's when I knew something was happening with you.
With me?
Like you were doing shows there, right? Like you would have like a live show or something there. And there was this little place off Melrose or something that, right? And like...
show.
This is this is like live like stand up, but like this is when you were maybe not working at the store or something.
I was banned from the store.
Banned from the store, but you were like selling out these shows because of the podcast, and I heard that, and I was like, wait a minute, like something is going on here. There are people who can't sell out shows at comedy clubs, and they're giving away tickets, and this guy's doing a comedy show. It was a restaurant/comedy club, and
I don't
people
think
were
I had a
showing the fuck
podcast
up.
back then.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because the podcast was 2009, and maybe that was 2009, maybe. But I was banned from the store in 2007.
I thought it was off. I thought it was off podcast because I was like, "There's something happening with community
Man,
here."
your whole
No,
fucking
no,
life.
no,
is
no,
I really thought it was off podcast.
No, it might be. You might be
Keep
right. You
thinking
might be
that
right.
shit,
I'm not.
because
I think I was right, bro.
I don't know the timeline, but the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it might be right. It's hard to say. It's like, but that time era, like Sal's Comedy Hole was a good one. The Ice House was a big one. That was our real like safety rap.
Such a fun club, dude.
Great club.
Yeah.
Great club. Is that back open again?
I don't know. I haven't been in LA since.
The Ice House. The Ice House was our spot. And the haha, we did the haha a lot,
Yeah.
and did the improv a lot. You know.
Anyway, I just remember that happening, and I remember saying like, "Oh shit! Like you could create your own community, and people want this. They want this distraction. They want the comedy. They want the conversation, and I don't have to do these shows on MTV or whatever fucking networks I was working on." I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, something's happening right here."
Well, you do create your own community, but what you do is just find other people that are doing the same stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
And just everybody's creating their own community. You just like have you join.
Yeah.
You join together. It's like no one person really does it. And if it's your responsibility, if you're the person that's at like you're further along in your career or further along in the weirdness of the path and in terms of like the amount of people that are following you, it's your obligation. You have to bring everybody along.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Yeah.
We don't need that anymore. Those sitcoms are ruining your horrible jokes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You can't tell terrible jokes if you want to get a sitcom.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's a bunch of fucking trolls out there that'll get you fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll take away your livelihood.
Right.
Okay, then before you leave, like, what is your
Who are you looking at?
you? What is your what is your recommendation for? How do we do for New York what you did for LA and then all kinds?
You're doing it already, man. You're already doing it. What you're doing here is perfect. This is a perfect example, a perfect like expression of you and of you guys, of everybody that works here. It's like you're doing it, and you're doing it with your stand-up. You're doing it with your specials. Just keep doing it, and it'll get better, and you'll find, like smoother ways to do it. You're gonna continue this weird path that we're all on. Like, I feel like I get better at doing podcasts every day. I feel like every time I do it, I get a little bit better. And I know that sounds crazy, but I just think that we can define ourselves in like a confining way for no reason. We just say, well, about as good as I ever gonna get at this. But that's not really true. Like, you can get better. And I still fuck up. Like, sometimes I'll talk over someone, I'm like, fuck. Like, I didn't want to. Like, it just blurted out. I'm like, control, settle down. Like, try to figure out how to get the most out of this person.
Yeah.
And it just gets better all the time. And it's like everything else you do. It's the amount of energy you put into it, the amount of focus you put into it. And if you put a lot into it, you can get better at it. As long as you're alive. As long as you're alive and you're healthy, put a lot into it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Yes. Get in here, you vegan. Dirty
You're
vegan.
the fucking man. Thank you so much,
My
brother.
pleasure, brother. I appreciate you
If you
very
have some
much.
shows you'd like to promote her.
No, we're good.
Joe Rogan podcast. Check it out.
Yeah. I'm in Vegas.
Joe's a real
July
nigga right
1st.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, Doug.
Appreciate you
Thank
too.
you. Thank
you guys are very important to me. Like all you guys coming up, it's super important to me. It's beautiful. It means a lot. It feels good. It's nice. It's like there's a whole fucking savage crew of like really good comics coming up right now.
Respect.
And they're doing real comedy, and it's heartwarming. For me, when I watch Shane Gillis, Norman, and there's so many of these guys that are coming up. Tim Dillon.
Timmy.
There's so many of these guys that are coming up. I'm like, God damn, Tony Hinchcliffe. This is a great time.
Yeah.
This is a great time for real comedy. And Ari Shaffir said it best. He said, this is the best thing because comedy is dangerous now. Comedy,
I agree.
One more time, is dangerous again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want there to be a time where you can't say things.
Yeah.
Because that's when we're fun.
Can't's a weird word.
When you're not
Stop it.
supposed to say things.
Yeah. You can't do that. Crush. You can't do that. You can't tell people what they can't say.
Right.
The problem is most of the people that tell you
I
that you
tried
can't
to stop
say
the
things.
podcast. Joe's going. I just want to point this out.
Yeah,
go.
it's a good
Tell them what
point.
you can't say, Joe.
The problem with people, the people that want to tell people what they can't say, almost all of them are a mess.
What do you mean?
There's no amazing examples of people who want to tell you what you can't say. There's no examples. When you look at that person, you go, they're kind and compassionate, and they're charitable, and they're beautiful. They always look at the bright side of things. There's no examples.
They're just angry.
What about Amy Schumer?
Oh, you son of a bitch! What are you trying to do, Waka?
Couldn't even get through.
Get us in trouble! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here. Here's Bob with the weather.